What if I told you most men lose a woman's interest before they even speak, not because of looks, money, or luck, but because their psychology screams, "I need you to validate me." And here's the brutal truth. Attraction isn't a trick. It's a reaction. A woman doesn't decide to feel it like she's checking a box. Her nervous system responds to signals: confidence, safety, mystery, emotional strength, leadership, social intelligence. So if your signals are weak, you can have the best lines in the world and still get ignored. But if your signals are strong, you can say something simple and she'll lean in, laugh, and start chasing the vibe you created. Stay with me, because I'm going to show you how to build that vibe using psychology, ethically, confidently, without begging, without performing, and without trying to be someone you're not. First, we need to kill the fantasy and the title, "Attract Any Woman." You can't control another person's preferences, mood, life situation, or values. What you can do is become the kind of man who reliably triggers attraction patterns in most women. Because human psychology is not random. It's predictable. Not robotic, not guaranteed, but predictable. Think of attraction like fire. You don't command it, you create the conditions. The right fuel, the right oxygen, the right spark. Most guys bring water, neediness, approval-seeking, nervous over-explaining, and then wonder why nothing lights up. Your job is to become the conditions. Here's the foundation. Women don't fall for words, they fall for emotional experiences. And the man who creates emotional experiences is the man who feels like an adventure, not an interview. That's why boring nice guys lose and calm, confident men win. Not because nice is bad, but because nice often means I'm scared to create tension. And tension is not toxicity. Tension is polarity. It's uncertainty. It's play. It's a moment where she feels something shift inside her. You're not trying to manipulate her. You're giving her a different emotional climate than what she gets from predictable men who want a guaranteed outcome. So let's start with the single most important psychological principle in attraction. Value is felt, not claimed. If you try to convince her you're valuable, you're already losing. The moment you push, you communicate fear. The moment you over-explain, you communicate insecurity. The moment you seek reassurance, you communicate that your confidence is borrowed. Real value is communicated through calmness, standards, and pace. In psychology, people are drawn to what feels scarce, stable, and self-directed. That doesn't mean you act cold. It means you act like a man who already has a life, a mission, and self-respect. And a woman is invited into that world, not placed on a pedestal above it. Right now I want you to check your internal posture, not your shoulders, your inner posture. When you see a woman you like, do you go into please like me mode? Do you go into I have to impress mode? That state is loud. She feels it even if you try to hide it. Your first psychological upgrade is this. Replace the need for her approval with curiosity. Not fake curiosity, real curiosity. Who is she? What is she like? Does she fit my standards? That mental shift changes everything. Your tone, your eye contact, your pace, your humor, your ability to tease, your ability to walk away. Curiosity communicates confidence because it communicates choice. And choice is attractive. Now let's talk about what women are actually reading. Attraction begins with two primal filters. Is he safe? And is he strong? Safe does not mean harmless. Safe means emotionally stable, socially intelligent, respectful, and self-controlled. Strong does not mean aggressive. Strong means grounded, purposeful, decisive, and capable. The man who is only safe becomes a friend. The man who is only strong becomes a threat. The man who is both becomes magnetic. How do you communicate safe plus strong in the first minute? You do it with three things: your composure, your presence, and your standards. Composure means you don't rush. You don't chase. You don't speak like you're trying to fill silence. You breathe. Presence means you actually see her. You're not scanning the room, not hiding behind your phone, not trying to be cool. You're there. Standards means you're not overly available emotionally before she earns it. You can be warm, but you're not worshiping. Most men misunderstand confidence. They think confidence is loud, but psychologically, the most powerful confidence is calm. Calm communicates that you're used to social pressure. Calm communicates that you don't need to win this moment. Calm communicates you have options. That's why the most attractive men often speak slower, move slower, and smile like they're not asking permission to exist. If your voice speeds up, if you laugh too much at nothing, if you overnod, if you apologize for small things, you're signaling low status. And status, psychologically, isn't about money. It's about where you place yourself in the social hierarchy in your own mind. She can feel it. Now here's a technique that changes your entire vibe. The pause. When you approach, when you speak, when she answers, pause half a second longer than normal. Not awkward, just controlled. In communication psychology, whoever controls the pace controls the frame. The man who rushes is asking. The man who pauses is deciding. That tiny delay tells her nervous system, this guy isn't desperate, he's grounded. You want her to feel like she's stepping into your calm, not dragging you into her chaos. Let's move into the first interaction. Most guys open with either a compliment or a question. Compliments are not bad, but they're usually weak because every thirsty man uses them. Questions are not bad, but most men use them like an interrogation. The goal is not to collect information. The goal is to create a mood. So your opener should do one of three psychological things. Create a smile, create a moment, or create a frame. A frame is how you define what's happening. Instead of "can I talk to you?" your energy becomes "I'm talking to you." Not rude, just decisive. You can do that with something simple and real, a direct observation with a confident edge. You look like you're deciding whether you want to be here or not. Or, you have that calm look like you know something everyone else doesn't. Notice what those do. They create curiosity. They invite her to respond emotionally. They aren't begging. They aren't performance. They create a tiny mystery. What does he mean? And mystery is rocket fuel, because the brain hates unfinished loops. When you create an open loop, her mind stays engaged. Now, I need you to understand something. The strongest attraction is not created by what you say. It's created by what she feels when she's with you. And feelings come from contrast. If her day is predictable, your presence should feel different. If men usually try to impress her, you should feel like a man who is amused, grounded, and selective. If men usually chase, you should feel like you're leading. Leadership is not control, leadership is direction. So here's the psychological formula for great conversation. Validation plus challenge. Validation means you show you understand her. Challenge means you don't automatically agree, you don't automatically praise, you don't automatically fold. Most men only validate. That's so cool. You're amazing. Wow. That creates boredom. Some men only challenge. They argue, they nag, they act superior. That creates resistance. The sweet spot is playful. You understand her, but you're not impressed too easily. Let's make this practical. When she tells you something, her job, her hobby, her opinion, don't just ask how long and why. Instead, reflect the emotion and then add a playful twist. If she says she loves traveling, you can say, "You're the type who disappears for a week and comes back with a totally different personality." If she says she likes the gym, you can say, "Let me guess, you pretend you're not competitive, but you're secretly very competitive." This is psychology. You're giving her an identity to step into. Humans love identities that feel accurate and slightly flattering. But you're doing it with a confident tone that implies you're reading her, not chasing her. Another key psychological driver. Similarity creates comfort. Contrast creates spark. You want both. Similarity is values, humor, worldview. Contrast is masculine-feminine polarity, differences in energy. If you become too similar, you become her best friend. If you become too different, you become a stranger. The balance is, I get you, and I'm not you. That's why your vibe should be steady while hers can fluctuate. She can be excited, shy, playful, uncertain. You remain grounded. That grounding is deeply attractive because it feels like emotional safety. Now let's talk about the most misunderstood thing in attraction: eye contact. Most men either stare like a predator or avoid like a child. The psychologically attractive version is soft dominance, relaxed eye contact with warmth. You look at her like you're not afraid of her. You don't need to prove anything. You hold eye contact when you speak, you break it naturally, you smile when something is genuinely funny. Eye contact is a dominance signal, but warmth is what makes it safe. Combine them and you get that "I feel seen" effect. Voice matters too. A rushed voice signals anxiety. A monotone voice signals low emotion. A controlled, slightly slower voice signals authority. And here's a trick. Lower your volume slightly instead of raising it. People lean in to hear what's quieter. That creates intimacy without you forcing it. Intimacy is not about sexual words. Intimacy is about focus. It's about the sense that for a moment, the world gets smaller and it's just you and her. Now, you need to know what kills attraction faster than anything. Approval seeking disguised as kindness. If you constantly agree, constantly compliment, constantly try to be perfect, she feels pressure, and pressure feels like need. So replace approval seeking with honest self-amusement. If something is funny, laugh. If something is boring, don't fake excitement. If you disagree, disagree calmly. Calm disagreement is rare. Calm disagreement signals you have a spine, and spine is attractive. Let's step deeper into psychology. Women are attracted to men who create emotional movement. Think of her emotional state like a room. Most men enter the room and match the temperature. You want to change the temperature, not with chaos, with direction. You can move from playful to sincere, from teasing to real, from light to slightly intense. This emotional range makes you feel like a full human being, not a script. It also creates the feeling of, I don't know what will happen next, and uncertainty, when respectful, creates excitement. Here's how you do that without telling stories about other people. You talk in images and sensations. Instead of, I like confidence, you say, confidence is quiet. It doesn't beg. It doesn't chase. It just stands there and lets the world react. Instead of, I want a loyal woman, you say, I respect a woman who knows what she wants and doesn't entertain nonsense. This is persuasive because it paints a world. Her brain starts imagining herself in that world. That's how attraction grows. Her imagination starts cooperating with you. Now, let's address the ethical line. Because you're not here to manipulate, you're here to attract with integrity. The core rule is simple. You never pressure, you never guilt, you never corner. Attraction thrives with freedom. If she doesn't want it, you respect it and move on. Real masculine energy isn't forcing. It's leading with choice and self-control. In fact, psychologically, consent and respect make you more attractive to high-quality women because it signals maturity and safety. A woman who feels safe can relax. A woman who relaxes can feel desire. That's not ideology, that's nervous system truth. Now we get to one of the strongest attraction triggers: pre-selection and social proof. This does not mean you brag about other women. That's weak. Social proof is simply being a man who is socially integrated, respected, and comfortable around people. When a woman sees that you are valued by others, friends, colleagues, your community, your attractiveness rises because the brain uses social cues as shortcuts. So if your life is isolated, your mission isn't get a girlfriend. Your mission is build a life. Gym, skills, friends, hobbies, competence. Not for women. For you. Women are drawn to men who are going somewhere. Competence is another huge psychological magnet. Competence means you're good at something and you care about improving. It communicates discipline. Discipline communicates self-control. Self-control communicates safety and strength. That's why a man with purpose feels attractive even before he speaks. Purpose is a gravitational field. Now let's talk about flirting in a way that doesn't feel cringe. Flirting is not lines. Flirting is subtext. It's communicating. I see you as a woman and I'm not afraid to let that be known, without being explicit or vulgar. The best flirting is playful and specific. You have trouble hiding your reactions, don't you? You're dangerous when you're amused. You look innocent, but I don't buy it. Notice, it's not sexual, it's suggestive. It creates a little tension. And tension is what separates attraction from friendliness. But here's the key. Your body language must match. If you say a playful line with nervous energy, it dies. So your inner state matters. Before you ever approach, do this mental switch. You are not trying to win her, you are offering her an experience. That removes desperation. That makes you generous, not needy. Women feel that difference instantly. Now what about texting and escalation? Most men destroy attraction on the phone because they treat texting like emotional life support. They send paragraphs, they seek constant validation, they ask, are you mad? Do you still like me? Why didn't you reply? That's not masculine, that's anxious attachment on display. The psychology of attraction in texting is short, clear, playful, and directional. You don't text to build a relationship. You text to set a plan and maintain vibe. A good message is one that makes her smile and makes the next step easy. Something like, "You seem like trouble in a good way. Coffee this week, Wednesday or Thursday." You're giving choices. That's leadership. And leadership reduces her decision fatigue. It also signals you're not afraid of a real meetup. If she's slow to reply, you don't spiral, you don't double text instantly, you don't punish her, you don't act offended, you keep your life moving. And here's the stoic truth: your peace is your power. The man who can stay calm in uncertainty is rare. That calm becomes attractive because it communicates emotional strength. You want to be the man who can enjoy a woman without needing to own her attention. Now let's address rejection. Because if you want to be powerful in attraction, you must be powerful in loss. The man who fears rejection becomes a performer. The man who accepts rejection becomes magnetic. Why? Because he's free. He doesn't need every interaction to go his way. And that freedom shows up as confidence. If she's not interested, your response should be simple. Respect, smile, exit. No bitterness, no persuasion, no debate. That one moment communicates more masculinity than 100 clever lines. Now, I'm going to give you a psychological attraction stack you can run in real time without thinking too hard. It starts with your state: grounded, curious, slow. Then your entry: observation or playful assumption. Then you create comfort. You listen, you reflect. You show social intelligence. Then you create spark: playful challenge, light teasing, confident eye contact. Then you lead. You suggest a plan. Not someday. Not vague, specific. The stack is state, entry, comfort, spark, lead. If you skip comfort, you become creepy. If you skip spark, you become friendly. If you skip lead, you become a pen pal. Let's go deeper into comfort, because a lot of guys mess this up. Comfort is not being a therapist. Comfort is making her feel understood without making it heavy. The best way to do this is through emotional labeling, naming what's happening gently. You're thinking about your answer. You're more observant than you pretend. You're trying not to laugh right now. This makes her feel seen. Feeling seen is intimacy. And intimacy is the bridge to attraction. Now, boundaries. This is where your masculinity becomes real. A woman may test you, not because she wants drama, but because she wants to know if you have a spine. Tests can be small: teasing you, challenging you, acting slightly unimpressed. If you get defensive, you fail. If you fold, you fail. The right response is playful calm. You don't argue. You don't explain. You smile and hold your frame. That's cute. You're trying to see if I'm easily shaken. Then move on. The psychology here is simple. She wants to feel that your confidence is stable. Stable confidence is deeply attractive because it feels like protection, not physical protection, emotional protection from chaos. And let's talk about over-complimenting, because it's a silent killer. Compliments are best when they are rare, specific, and about something deeper than looks. You can notice beauty, but don't drown her in it. If you tell her she's beautiful 10 times, it becomes noise. If you say once, you have a calm intensity that lands. Why? Because it's unique. It makes her feel understood. It also suggests you're not desperate, you're discerning. Now what about being mysterious? Most guys do mystery wrong. They act cold, they play games, they hide. That's insecurity disguised as strategy. Real mystery is simple. You don't reveal everything at once because you don't need to. You share gradually. You let her earn access. That's not manipulation. That's healthy pacing. Psychologically, people value what they invest in. If she invests attention, curiosity, time, and emotion, she begins to feel more attached. Not because you tricked her, but because investment creates value in the mind. Here's another advanced psychological lever: the push-pull of emotions, not the push-pull of attention. You don't disappear to make her chase. That's cheap. Instead, you alternate between playful challenge and warm presence. You might tease her lightly, then genuinely listen. You might be a little bold, then a little sincere. That creates emotional texture. Texture keeps people engaged. Flatness loses attention. And attention is the currency of attraction. Now I want you to master one principle that separates boys from men: outcome independence. It means you care, but you're not attached. You're interested, but you're not needy. You're present, but you're not desperate. Outcome independence is the psychological scent of a man who has options. And options don't mean women. Options mean life, goals, friends, growth, discipline. When a woman senses you have a full life, she feels like being with you is an addition, not a rescue mission. Let's talk about what women often crave but rarely say directly: emotional leadership. Emotional leadership means you can guide the vibe without being controlling. If she's nervous, you relax her. If she's quiet, you create play. If she's excited, you amplify. If she's testing, you stay calm. Most men mirror her emotions unconsciously. A masculine man influences them consciously, with kindness and confidence. That's why, when you walk into a date, you don't ask, "So what do you want to do?" like a lost tourist. You say, "We'll grab a drink here, then we'll take a short walk. If the vibe is good, we'll find something fun." Direction, not dictatorship. Direction. And here's the part that a lot of men ignore. Attraction also comes from how you treat yourself. If you tolerate disrespect, you signal low value. If you chase someone who gives you crumbs, you tell her you're starving. A man with standards is attractive because standards communicate self-worth. If she flakes repeatedly with no respect, you don't argue. You simply reduce access. You keep it classy. You protect your energy. That's stoicism in real life. Not being reactive, not being bitter, not trying to control, just choosing. Now a quick reality check. If you want women to feel drawn to you, you must be willing to make them feel something. That means you must risk being misunderstood sometimes. You must risk being rejected sometimes. You must risk being seen. The man who hides is safe for him, but invisible to her. Masculinity is not perfection. Masculinity is presence under pressure. So let's lock this in with a final mental frame you carry into every interaction. You are not trying to get her to like you. You are allowing her to experience you. You are bringing calm, direction, play, and authenticity. You are showing her what it feels like to be around a man who is not asking for permission to exist. And you are doing it with respect, because the highest form of power is self-control. Here's your challenge. The next time you talk to a woman you're attracted to, don't chase a result. Chase a moment. Slow down your pace. Hold your eye contact a second longer. Speak with calm certainty. Make one playful assumption. Listen like a man who isn't afraid of silence. Add one warm challenge. Then lead with a clear plan. And if it doesn't go your way, you smile, you respect, and you walk away with your dignity intact. Because dignity is attractive, even when she doesn't choose you. If you can master that, your state, your frame, your pacing, your emotional leadership, you won't need tricks. You'll become the man whose presence does the work. And when your presence does the work, attraction stops being luck and starts being psychology.